is up? The boys are back again with an emergency pod. That's right. The HYROX world was shaken up yesterday as Matt Locke dropped the news. The much talked about and rumored Elite 15 qualification system is here. We've got lots of opinions, and so we decided here at Race Break, you all deserve the best debates that we can come up with. So that's right, we have put together an emergency pod. My esteemed panel today: the raw dog, Dawson Miller, calling from a jail somewhere in Wisconsin. That's right. When you call an emergency pod, he's got to do the office setup. We don't have any plants, no beautiful plants, just terrible lighting, but good acoustics in that room. And yes, he does work in an IT call center, thus the headset. Dawson, how we doing?
Good. I wouldn't like to refer to my job as a jail or a jail cell just because it is what I do for over 40 hours a week. But yeah, I'm at my place of work and ready to talk some rocks here.
Dawson likes his job, just for the record. It's just a joke. And then the stats man himself, Jack Bauer, has been out here preaching percent of winner for years. Jack, how validated do you feel? I think that you were the first one to start talking about percent of winner when it came to OCR and hybrid sports. You have to feel so validated. They're not going to give credit where credit's due, but I'm going to give it to you, Jack, the godfather of percent of winner. How are we feeling today?
Matt, if there's a discussion on percent of winner, you know I'm going to be in the building for that one. I looked it up just for the heck of it. I have been talking about percent of winner. I looked at my first OCR file, September 2016. We're going over 9 years ago that I have been preaching percent of winner mattering, and it's about time that they actually implemented it.
Listen, I'm not saying that Race Brain is the preeminent podcast in the hybrid and OCR community, but what I am going to tell you is that one, Kirk DeWint came up with the phrase compromised running, and Jack Bauer basically has been clamoring for percent of winner for years. Those are two big things now in hybrid sports. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Not going to debate that.
You're not going to debate it. Not going to debate it. And I know that someone's going to
actually. We are going to debate it now that I think about it.
We are going to debate it. We are going to debate it. All right, let's get right to it because we are doing this in the middle of a workday, and all three of us do have real jobs. So, if you have not seen or you live under a rock, I would encourage everybody to go to pause this really quick, although we will explain it as well. Go to the HYROX official YouTube. There are two different videos. There's a long form video. It's about 12 and a half minutes. And then there is a bite-sized 2-minute version for the Benny Big Bucks of the world who can't consume long-term content or long form content that will break it down more simply. But we have a new qualification system in place that is going to start for the 2026 to 2027 season onward. It will be effective on July 1st, and it is effectively going to look back to September 1st of 2025 onward. And the reason why is because we have confirmed that the first major will not occur until after that point. So that is why they're going there. And it will be looking at all athletes racing who have a pro card. So if you do not have a pro card and you want to compete, you need to get one. I'm going to talk about what's new, who it applies to, how the qualification works, and then we will get into debating. So what is new? Everybody rejoices. Auto qualification is now, after this season, officially retired. Can we get a woo woo?
On that note, how many people made a living just, hey, I got in the system, I'm going to stay here for the next 18 months. We joked about that so many times. No longer a thing.
Yeah, I think this clears up one of the main concerns that we had all had, which was there were some people that were getting to benefit for potentially up to 18 months after the fact of a race that they were, from a race that they had done a long time ago. They might not even be close to being in the same fitness back then. So that's the first change. Second change, we're moving to a points-based percentile-driven system where athletes will be ranked relative to the field, not just finishing position. This is where percent of winner comes in. We will talk about that. Stronger races count more. Top-tier events carry more points. consistency over one-off races, an athlete's best races define overall ranking. This specifically solves for Berlin, for London, for New York City. Cannot say it. I'm American bias. We have a fast course too. Then Elite 15 doubles from 2016 or 2026 and 2027 season onwards need to be the same nationality to compete together. RIP to Rich Leo. As I mentioned, this applies to aspiring Elite 15 athletes and current Elite 15 competitors. And so how this works, athletes will earn points in an approved elite level events with rankings based on a rolling 365-day window. Singles is your best 5 results. Doubles is your best 3 results. Tiebreakers come down to equal points are resolved by strength of field comparison across the qualifying races for each athlete. So the easiest way to describe this is, let's just really quick, the first example that comes to mind, Rylan won New Delhi by, I believe, 10 minutes. Whereas Jack pointed out that there was a race that happened in this fall where Ollie Fricker, I think, took 9th place and was within 60 seconds of the winner. I don't remember who the winner of that race was. It was likely, I think it was 10, wasn't it? Or was it Stuckert? Is that what we were looking at?
He went 56-21 in London and took 9th place.
Who took first in that race?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, whoever took, just for the sake of conversation, if whoever took first in that race in London was tied with someone who won a pro race by 10 minutes, likely there's more nuance than this, but just for the sake of just making the point, likely the tiebreaker would go to the winner of London because it is likely a stronger depth of field.
Luke.
Okay, yeah, Luke Greer. So what I will actually now do is just if this is not necessarily going to be a YouTube episode, but I'm going to just quickly pull up the points. Unless Jack, you have a spreadsheet do you have a spreadsheet that shows the points?
I've got it. Yep.
Okay, then I'll let you share your screen because the breakdown is different for pro races, elite races, and major races.
Do you want to go over the 4 different categories or wait till we get there?
Sure. So the 4 different categories are your standard pro race. This is just going to be any pro race regionally. Chicago, Copenhagen, Johannesburg,
Phoenix,
Brisbane.
if you're not in the Elite 15 this upcoming race.
Correct. Chicago World Championships, not in the elite race. A regional Elite 15 race. This is going to be obviously the regional races. So this year, this would be DC, London, Excel, and Brisbane. The major races, self-explanatory, and then the Elite 15 World Championship races.
Regional championship must be pro weight, correct? Because in the past they've been open.
Yep. So this is going to be going forward. So as an example here, this is what you would have seen, or this is what the total points are, but I'll just give everybody a quick idea of what first and second place get you so you can see the differences. In a standard race, first place gets you 105 points. Second place gets you 100 points, but you must finish within 10% of the first place time. And in a regional elite race, you get 108 points for winning. You get 106 points for second. You get 103 points for third. You get 100 points for fourth. So that's what gets you down to the equal of a regular race. However, that fourth place spot at regionals must be within 10% of winner. At the majors, 110 points for first, 108 for second, 107 for third. I'm not going to go all the way down for percent of winners, but in order to reach a regional race, a 5th place finish at a major is equal to winning a regional race. And 10th place, assuming that you stay within 20% of winner, is good enough for a second place in a regional race. Language matters, not a regional race, in a standard age group race. And then if we go all the way over to the Elite 15 World Championships, 115 points for first. Now we have this up on the screen. You can go down all the way down to 10th place, assuming that you're within 20% of the winner, is worth second place at a regular standard weekend race. So with that, it's a lot of me talking. Dawson, Jack, hot takes, your initial reactions.
Do you want me to have my questions that may break the system hot takes, or just general?
Let's just start with let's
questions
start.
about the system?
Let's ease into the waters. Let's ease into the waters. Let's just start with how about this? We'll get a little structure here. We'll start really easy. We'll just quickly go around. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Dawson.
Thumbs up overall. It is an improvement.
Jack, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up. They're using percent of winner.
I am also going to go thumbs up. This is way better. Where would you all like to start? I think one of the big talking points, I guess, well, how about this? Do we want to do pros or want to do cons first?
Well, I guess just within the new changes, the rules that have set, I have a few questions on that, just clarifying questions, information that wasn't in the video.
Yep.
So Matt Locke stated that, for people to count towards these races, you need to have the elite card, the pro card. So if a normal person wins a normal weekend race, that would be 105 points. Does the second place finisher get 105 points because they are the first person with a pro card to finish? Or do they get 100 points because they got second place and lost to somebody without a pro card?
Yeah, so this is where I will really quickly say that if you want probably the most accurate and in-depth information on this is where I will plug my friend Anthony Parasini. I would encourage everybody to go listen to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast, episode number 81, where Anthony has a discussion with Matt Locke. This actually gets brought up. What happens if they do the reverse, but they say what happens if someone gets 8th? But the 4 people that finish in front of them do not have a pro card. Do they get their points or do they not get their points? They get their points, assuming that they finish within percent of winner. So in your scenario, Dawson, if Joe Schmo shows up off the street, we've got a dog that comes in from, from the triathlete world, throws down a crazy time, and you take second place, you do get your 100 points because you have a pro card. You do not get the 105. You get the points commiserate to your place.
So then with that, again, in the doubles, if you have 2 people that both have pro cards that are not the same nationality and they get first place, and you have 2 people of the same nationality that both have pro cards that get second place, does the second place team then get the 100 points and not the 105 points?
My assumption is that it would, and this is a pure assumption, that'd be a good question to ask Matt Locke and Anthony. Also, for those that don't know, the reason why Anthony is probably the right person to ask on this is Anthony is on the Elite 15 Sporting Council, so he helped come up with this system. This is, again, Matt Mason's interpretation of it, but based on the way that they were talking and the way that it works, because you now have to both be the same nationality, the people of opposite nationalities would they took the place that they took, so you don't get to move up and take those points, but they just don't accrue those points. Would seem to be how that be applied. I guess
me gamifying the system and trying to find loopholes is that if you're in a 3-race system trying to stop somebody from scoring more points than you, you could team up with somebody that isn't your nationality, beat a team of the same nationality so they have less points, then gamifying the system, allowing you and your partner to have more points. That was the one loophole that I thought I found within the system.
I was thinking the same
thing. You could do that, but that's a race that you have to go run that also doesn't count for you. So
understandable. I was just trying to find possible loopholes.
But is it easier to keep someone out once you're in? Like, some people might want to do that because the points are on their side. 5 points is massive compared to fractions of a point when you're going down to percent of winner after the automatic place, the minimum points that are guaranteed by a certain place. So I think some people might end up doing that, Dawson.
Yeah, and with that, does strength of field count for a team that doesn't exist within the system? Do you still have the strength of field of the person? So
strength of field separately? So strength of field, they talked about this too, and I wondered how are they going to determine this? They determine strength of field based on the amount of points in the field. So presumably what's happening is let's say I'll just use an example. Let's say that you're friends with Jake Williamson, and Jake Williamson likes to collect partners almost as frequently as Hunter McIntyre. Let's say that Dawson and Jake run a race together. Because you can't have points because you're different nationalities, your points don't actually impact the strength of field because there's no points to be had. So the example that the example that Anthony actually used was Gabe Heck. I want to be very clear about this. Gabe Heck is a good athlete. Gabe Heck has qualified for the Elite 15 on his own merit. He gets a lot of flack because he wins all these races over an APAC, but he has gotten in via the time-based qualifying system. So Gabe Heck is a worthy Elite 15 athlete. This is not a comment about Gabe Heck. But if Gabe Heck were to race in, let's say, do 2 races in China, 1 in South Korea, 1 in Singapore, and there's no one else in the race, right? It's just his points in the field. Versus if you look at, I'll just use a race that just happened. You look at the Chicago race that had Cole Earn, Jack Driscoll, Grayson Kilgore, Colin Stiefer, Ryan Kent, Dawson Miller. There are more points in that field. Thus, it has a higher strength of schedule. So the points for winning that are worth more than the points for the race that only Gabe was in. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying, I see what you're saying, but it doesn't help the strength of field because you can't be considered a team. So you don't bring any points into that race.
So yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying is that even helps somebody playing defense. So if I were to play defense on a team that's trying to beat me out in points, I get some ringer and I bring them in and I run the same race that they did. Not only do they get second place and not first place points, they also don't get the strength of opponents because we technically don't count as a team. So it's actually worse off. You just made
Anthony,
my point even more.
I'm now speaking in the future to Anthony, who listens to the show. Anthony, if you want to make a comment on the YouTube about Dawson's scenario, what I do not have the answer to is I would assume it would be logical that the points would be based on the doubles teams because we're talking about doubles. But I don't know if maybe they've thought about this and then they would bring in your solo points. So who knows? So Anthony, if you were listening, if you want to make a comment, that would be great.
And yeah, this isn't me criticizing the system at all. This is me just trying to find loopholes within the system, and that wasn't explicitly stated within the explanation. So just trying to get more context.
For sure.
Yeah, and Dawson, as an example, let's say 50 minutes wins the pro doubles. That 5 points between 105 and 100 is the same as running 52-38. So over 2.5 minutes of difference. That 5 points is worth essentially before it even trickles down even further. So it's a massive advantage to, keep someone out instead of doing better yourself.
This is not where you were going with that, but I do want to acknowledge something that Matt Locke says in the official video and then says on the Hybrid Coaching podcast with Anthony that was refreshing to hear. For the first time, HYROX actually is acknowledging, not like head on, that these courses are not the same. Matt Locke mentions course layouts. He specifically talks about the amount of corners. They talk about course setup, how they actually go into depth on how wide burpee broad jumps has a direct effect on how fast the burpee station is in a race. He actually makes a joke that in the LCQ in Barcelona, they referred to it as the burpee carpet bomb because so many people showed up at the same time and they couldn't get through. So they acknowledge that the courses are different from a layout perspective, that cornering matters, the amount of turns matters, the amount of laps matters, how wide those stations are matters. He talks about elevation matters. He talks about how temperature matters in these races. And that's actually one of the reasons why they wanted to move to this system. And they effectively say, if you run a 54 in Berlin, you ran a 54. That is a HYROX course. It is 8.7K. Everything is the same. And there might be advantages to that but they acknowledge that not everybody can run Berlin. And so what they don't want to do is punish someone who's racing in Mexico City at 7,200 feet. Right. And so that's part of the reason why they did this. So I do want to say there's all these years they've said it's the same, it's the same, it's the same. And you think I'm maybe going to criticize them. I'm not. I'm actually applauding them for finally acknowledging what we have all known to be true, which is that time-based system no longer makes sense. And I do respect the reason why they've waited this long. They effectively said, we waited this long because the depth of field, the depth of field wasn't there in the last few years, but now we actually have multiple people who have gotten into the Elite 15 on time-based rankings from multiple continents. We've had multiple people from APAC do it. We've now had people in South Africa that have broken in. So they now feel like the sport is now globally represented enough where we can move to this system. So shout out to HYROX for finally acknowledging that.
Yep.
Jack, your thoughts, pros and cons.
All right. I don't know how in the weeds you want to get, but I think one of the most obvious ones before we get too deep into the numbers is now you're forced to race 5 races. And that's going to create a pretty tough situation for a lot of athletes, whether you're dealing with an injury, you simply can't get enough tickets because some regions have significantly more race availability in your region, which, most people don't want to fly across an ocean to get to races or can't because of work commitments and stuff. So I think that this requirement of 5 races is going to be pretty tough for solo. 3 is a little more manageable for doubles, but five solo is a lot.
I'm glad you brought
if you
this
have
up.
a pro card, you do get preferential treatment. You still have to pay for the ticket,
Yeah,
but they will get you into the race.
Yeah, so that is another advantage of the pro card. I believe as long as you give HYROX, is it 3 weeks
3
notice
weeks or something?
If you give them 3 weeks notice, you can get into a sold out race. So for anyone who is saying, "Oh, I can't get in," if you think that you're an Elite 15 athlete, get your pro card because that is no longer an excuse. You can get in any race you want to. You can get into Berlin as long as you give them 3 weeks notice. And if you're traveling from somewhere other than Europe, hopefully, unless you're loaded, you probably know you're going to go to Berlin well in advance. I hear the 5 race argument, and Anthony actually addressed this head on as to why they chose this. The reason why they chose 5 races as the threshold is they've actually gone back historically and they have applied this point system retroactively to the last 5 seasons to see how it netted out. And they were trying to determine where things would have stood. And this makes sense to me. There are 100 races globally. In theory, with the amount of athletes that are out there and the amount of different winners, the reason why they chose 5 races is for tie-breaking reasons. Because in theory, you could have 20 people still win 5 races, right? So in theory, they're going to have 5 tiebreakers. They played it out at 3, and the amount of potential tie-breaking scenarios was astronomical. It was actually, and so then they would be keeping, people would get upset for another reason because they'd be gatekeeping other people. And they looked at 4, and when they looked at 4, they still had too many tie-breaking scenarios. So the reason why they landed on 5 is because it would produce the least amount of tie-breaking scenarios, so we could confidently say that it was the best 15 that were in. But I've got a little teaser for you. Do we all agree that historically Hunter McIntyre races the least out of the Elite 15 men who have been in for the last 5 years?
cross seasons, yes.
Okay. Anthony went back and looked. Hunter McIntyre has never dropped below 5 pro races, Elite or otherwise, in a rolling 12-month period, dating all the way back. So even Hunter, who we presume to race the least, meets the 5 race requirement. Fun fact, the person who actually races the least in the last 2 seasons, Alexander Ronkovich, averaging 3 and 4 races. So Ronk is going to have to race more, but Hunter, who is widely considered to be the person who races the least, even meets the requirement. The current Elite 15 athletes actually do not have this problem. Now, the argument that I will acknowledge that makes sense, and I asked Anthony this, and I have not gotten a response yet, is who it does presumably hurt is anyone who gets an injury, right? So right now in the Elite 15, the notable one would be Meg, because she's dealing with an injury right now, and she actually only has, in the last 12 months, two races. She's now hurt again. God willing, hopefully it's not a serious injury, and she'll be able to get 3 more before the fall. But that does seem to be a disadvantage. Now, I'll turn it over to you guys. The only argument I could hear on the flip side is we have seen some athletes who we actually talked about why we're happy that the auto qualification system is gone, who got hurt, were not able to come back to their previous fitness, but got to hold a spot in races because of auto qual when they shouldn't have been, because they weren't at the top of the game. So I guess the counter argument to the injury thing would be, well, if you get injured, which is unfortunate, you've got to prove that you're back to who you were before to be in the Elite 15. So I'll stop yapping, and your guys' thoughts on the 5 races.
I've got a graphic to share on the 5 races right here. So this just shows historically each of the regions, how many races are available. And my issue with it is if you live Europe, Middle East, North Africa, you live in that area, these yellow colors right here, you have so many more races than athletes who are based in the Americas or APAC region. So I think that it's a much easier standard to hit as an athlete in the Europe, Middle East, North Africa region.
Well, in APAC, just geographically, half of those races are still over a 6-hour flight if you're going from Australia to any of the Southern Asian countries.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, Matt Locht addresses this too. He acknowledges they have to keep increasing the amount of races that they're going to have regionally next year, and they plan to. So they're going to have 100 cities, but that doesn't mean that they're only going to have 100 races. We get 2 or 3 London races a year. North America has come a long way pretty quickly. Even APAC, though, as an example, they have 1 or 2 Sydneys a year. They have 1 or 2 Melbournes a year. They've got Brisbane now. They've got 2 races, I believe, in New Zealand. So if you're down there, there's more than 5 races in a calendar year that are spread out. If you go up to Asia, they're exploding. They now have mainland China. There's Singapore. So yes, that is definitely a drawback, but they are addressing this, and he confirmed that they're going to be adding more races in North America and more races in APAC next year. You think about last season, we had 1 Toronto race, so we had 1 race in Canada, but like even look at a country like Canada as an example. This year we had Toronto, then we had Vancouver, we've got Ottawa. Those are all races that are fairly easy for Americans to get to. We now have 4 or 5 races in Mexico. We've added Boston, right? Like I hear you, but like the amount of races that are happening is now increasing such that it should not be too much of a struggle to get your 5 in, aside from injury. But I don't really see a better way. I'd be curious from the 2 of you. I get it. That getting injured sucks, but it's a part of sport and it's a part of life. And how do you fix that? Like that I get it that's a dog that everyone has right now on them, but like, how do you fix it? What's the proposal? Because I don't see a better way to do it.
Yeah, I think really the only complaints people will have on this will basically be through the transition period. So from now until the first major. If this is the standard going forward, I feel like it's going to be fine. It's just that the news is now people only have 6 to 7 months to be able to fix it, depending on where you live in the world. That is, you have different opportunities. But I think after this 6-month time frame, I don't really think this is going to be a big deal anymore. It's just a topic right now. In the future, it will be fixed, but right now, based on your current circumstances, it could put you in a bad place.
Yeah. I think that this is I think that this is a very good system. Um, we found out about it a little bit before it came out, and I think even now that it's come out, I think it's even better than what we had first really imagined. I think again, all these guys and gals, they're racing more than 5 times in a year. So it's really not going to be an issue. Um, and yeah, it's hard to find a lot of flaws in it. Jack, do you want to get into your favorite topic, percent of winner, and kind of walk people through the breakdown?
Yeah, just one of the issues that I've got is based on percent of winner. Let me share my screen, and this will make a little more sense.
Well, and I just have one more thing for people who are, running multiple races in a weekend. If we're not adding to the number of total races we have in the US or APAC, as long as we have pro singles or pro doubles on different days and not run at the exact same time, you can technically double up on weekends if possible. So if we're scheduling all pro races on the same day, that just doesn't really help our issue. So just the scheduling of the races may not be the most efficient logistically for the teams, but if they're trying to give people the opportunity to get multiple times in, that would help the situation.
Yeah. Anthony, if you're listening, if you could bring this up as well. Phoenix is a good example of this. I believe that men's pro doubles and men's pro singles, non-elites, are on the same day. Is that right, Dawson?
Yep, they're back to back. So it's impossible to do
So
both.
you can't do both. So it'd be, when we got multi-day events, it'd be great if we could at least split them.
I just, before I go to percent of winner, what happens if is it all aggregate all of the times throughout the weekend and that's your final leaderboard? What if there are 2 days of pro races, you win on Sunday, but your time wouldn't have been the winning one overall? You don't get that 105 points. You get
My
relative to the whole
understanding,
weekend.
based on the podcast that they did, was that it's for the weekend. It's considered an event because we've seen this before where Charlie Bottrell got first and fifth. It is your highest placed. I think it was first on both days, but it was first and fifth overall on the weekend. So he got first place overall. So that was like, that's what he took. You don't also get to take the points in the other spot.
Yeah, so Phoenix is like a unique situation where somebody could run an elite solo and also run a pro solo or a pro doubles. And since they're technically different categories, I believe, I mean, they wouldn't, if there was 2 singles, it would only be the elite, but you could run multiple races, elite or pro, and have both of them count.
That's another interesting caveat that, Anthony, if you want to let me know on, because technically those are separate leaderboards and they're looked at differently because there's the elite race and then there's the pro race. And so I don't know if that's considered the same event or not, but Anthony actually raised the point of, in Europe, this is where I think Europe does have an advantage, Jack, because Matt confirmed that this could happen. In theory, if there was men's pro in Poland on a Thursday and then men's pro in, say, Manchester on a Sunday, and you took first in both, then you get 210 points.
I think we've seen that where a couple athletes have raced multiple venues.
Yeah, like Viola raced. Yeah, Viola raced multiple countries in the same weekend in the fall. Now, whether or not that's an advantage or not, I don't know, but you'd only have to peak in theory once for 2 races, right?
And especially with some of these like 9-day, that giant one in London, it's like you, in theory, granted, a lot of people are going to be racing it, but you in theory could separate the days and like race on a Wednesday and then be recovered by Sunday potentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a training day for Charlie Bottrell. Yeah. Jack, you want to share your screen?
Sure. Yeah, the thing that made me think of that was like the Morgan Schultz situation in Toronto where she won on Sunday, right? A couple of years ago. Yeah.
So while you're pulling this up, I will say, so if you're complaining about 5 races, I hear you, but the data actually supports that the overwhelming amount of Elite 15 athletes are racing more than this anyway. And even those that don't race a lot are still getting 5 races. So,
okay. So here's one of the main issues I have with, as Matt went over, you finish in the top 8 within 20% of the winner, you're going to get points. If you do the simple math, like if let's say the winner's in 60 minutes and then 80% of that. So as long as you finish under 75 minutes, you're going to get points if you're in 8th place or better in a week race. Now look at some of these times. These are pro men's times right here. An hour 14, hour 13, hour 13. Some of these times are getting points. These athletes are not going to be able to accumulate enough points to get the 500 or so points that it's going to take to get into the Elite 15. But the fact is they are earning points. We scroll down to some of these other courses. Ollie Fricker, 56.21. Geoffrey Voisin, 56.22. You have over 190 different races in which men went under 60 minutes and they earned no points. Now, is there a situation where a guy like Ollie Fricker, Geoffrey, Louis, right here, if we look at the standings.
Wait, why did Ollie and Joffrey not get any points?
Because they finished in
because
ninth
they
place.
finished ninth place. Yeah,
ninth place. So much better performance, but they're just like, ninth place doesn't matter anymore. The reason I'm mentioning this is like, say you're a guy like Louis right here. He gets ninth place, he gets no points. If we look at the standings, like he's just on the cutoff, or like he's just missing it. What if he ended up getting a few more points and then that bumps him into the Elite 15? Instead, he just gets flat out 0. So I think that if you're under a certain time, they should still allow you to get points no matter what place it is, because your percent of winner was good.
So I think their argument to this would be, well, I know what one of the arguments would be. This goes back to the direct point that Matlock was making, which is we've been complaining about how courses are not equal and times aren't equal. So it's not fair. Now I see your point, Jack. Like, can you scroll up just a little bit? Like, show me someone on your top list who got, okay. So like Ollie Fricker's 56 is definitely better than a 114.17. No disrespect to Ruse.
Yeah, and Johannesburg's that elevation. Like, I understand there's a reason why it's slow, but like bottom line is some very slow times for the pro men's earn points.
So I think that their thought is you can't have it both ways. We can't complain about how courses are not equal and then them do something about it to show it and then complain, well, but we're not giving people credit. But then the second thing is like, I think they didn't say this, but I think that one of the things that they're thinking about in the back of their minds is this is going to force people to travel to races. Anthony mentioned on the podcast that they went back and looked in the last, I think it's like 3 to 4 years. Nobody that was in the Elite 15 field at any of the World Championship races, men or women, made it with less than 500 points. So to that point, even if Ollie scores there, let's say he scores 85. Yeah.
Like based on percent of winner right there.
Okay. But his score would have been first place divided by the ninth by his time times 100. So it would have been less.
97 right there.
Oh, it is 97 points?
Yeah. Because Luke was like 54-30 something, and that's just straight up that ratio right there.
Okay. So he gets 97 points. It's still not enough to add in or to increase an average over 100, which is what he effectively is going to need. The second piece is that where I was going with this is we're now going to see these athletes spread out and race. I don't think that there's actually going to be such thing as an easy race anymore. I don't think that you're going to have a lot of scenarios where you don't have Elite 15 hopefuls showing up at races because you need to win. Like, that's the thing, is it's not even second place isn't even really good enough because the elites that are currently in the field are still going to have an advantage because there's more points in major races, in regional races, and at world championships. So you have to stack wins. So, like, we're still going to have examples of Ollie Fricker finishing 97% a winner in ninth, but we're also going to start seeing guys like Ollie Fricker travel over potentially to APAC or to India or come over to the States, go to a Canadian race, which I think is what HYROX wants.
Well, here's
They
my
want to see the best athletes go and race because that draws crowds, that draws names. And then when those other countries see fast times, it just grows the sport.
that's fair, but I'm just looking at Ollie. Let's use him as an example again. He has won a race before. He won Copenhagen. He got second in Dublin before. So, like, let's say he has 105 points, and then he ended up getting second place in a different one because he's shown he can do it in the past. And then he needs to get 500 points. Let's use his 97 right here, and then like typically he's right in that like 98 or so percent. What's this add up to? So that right there is 490. He's right on the cusp of getting into the Elite 15 if he was able to like earn points from a race in which he was pretty close to the winner. He just happened to finish ninth. I'm saying that giving this 0 could affect the other or the other 4 races that count in his schedule, like if he's right on the border.
For sure. But I think that their argument back would be, and Ollie, if you listen to the show, I don't know if you do or not, you're a great racer. You're way better than me. He's not an Elite 15 athlete right now. So they would say that they're applying it in a way where it doesn't actually change. And interestingly enough, if this is to be believed, and I don't see why they wouldn't, they went back and did this for the last 3 seasons to check to see where it would have changed. It actually doesn't change the outcome of who winds up in the Elite 15. So they've been getting it right.
Okay. And then I'll just so we have a comparison.
I'm not, Jack, for the record, I'm not saying I'm just saying that would, I think, be their counter argument.
No, I'm just showing it. Like I get you're just, I understand your reasoning. But and then here's another example on like the women's side where you've got some athletes, Ellie Stenfers and Sophia Alondra. You've got some athletes on the women's side who've gone sub 64, earned 0 points, and then you had an hour 37 in Mumbai earning point. Like I just think that giving them nothing. I'm sure that Lauren Armstrong, when she went 62.30 and took 9th place in London, would have loved having 97.8 points because that could have helped her score in the grand scheme of things. Let's say that your example that you mentioned before, where you think that the races are going to get a little more spread out and there's going to be no such thing as an easy race anymore instead of all just showing up to the same one. Let's say the field dilutes a little bit at each race. You might have a chance where she could get 100 points or 105, where this 97.8 would have helped her.
Yeah, I guess to be clear, I don't think that it's necessarily going to dilute. I still think that people are going to show up at London and they're going to show up at the big venues. But what I do think will happen is a guy like, we're just using Ollie, so we're just keep picking on Ollie. A guy like Ollie is going to travel somewhere else to get a win. Which I think is what they want, right? Like you want like because think about the venue and like how like the amount of like excitement that they create in the venues when Elite 15 hopefuls are racing and they're on track for a fast time. That adds to like the aura and the atmosphere of a HYROX. Dawson, you've been sitting there quietly.
Yeah,
as Jack and I've been going
I had
back
a question. I had a question for Dawson because he's in this situation where you finished second place like 3 times, right? Individually through the years.
Not recently, but yes.
But I'm saying in the past, so like you were right on the border of winning. Would you personally change your schedule to try to get more achievable win? Like you don't really know who's going to be at the race except word of mouth until the start list gets put out. But would you change your tactics at all choosing races knowing that 105 might be more impactful in the standings?
I mean, I would more just plan out my season so that I can get the number of races with the most amount of recovery in between would be my initial thought. So just getting the number first and then maybe changing that schedule based on what I had heard, but it wouldn't be my initial thought. I would plan my season out first. And then if there was, say, like a weekend where I could switch a location, maybe that would fall under it, but it wouldn't be my first thought.
But yeah, let's say that you got 3 races into your schedule and you racked up 3 2s. And we mentioned at the beginning of the show about how your elite card allows you to get into a race. Would you then look at a race that you thought you could win?
I'm probably in the regional championship. So I would focus on the regional championship, which is worth more points than a normal race.
But Dawson also works a full-time job in finance, likes to have beers with the boys on the weekends, and rocks is not his life. So, I don't know
But
that
yeah, and I guess from the Ollie Fricker example, it's just like
that's just a
you,
joke about how Dawson is for the boys.
yeah.
So,
Do you really think ninth place is deserving of points? Are you better than everybody else besides 6 other people in the
but I
world
think
that
that's
weren't in that
actually
race?
Jack's point though, Dawson, is that no, ninth place is not deserving of points. But if ninth place in a competitive race is not deserving of points, eighth place in a non-competitive race certainly is not deserving of points.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
but
you earn
I,
point. Some of these races are pretty stacked. They are not as deep as a major. But there are sometimes when 15th place at a major just walks across the line 5 minutes after the winner, and it's like they're still earning points.
yeah, and I think that's the only issue I have with the system is like I talked about through this 6-month transition period. You will have people who have scored points at majors that will be worth more than a normal race. That will qualify you for next year. But after this 6-month time period, I don't think it'll really matter. And so this is kind of all up in the air right now. And in the future, it won't really matter. We'll just have a few people who have a few extra points here and there over the next 9 months, and then it'll kind of even itself out. But yeah, I mean,
If
the best way to get rid of that 97 that Ollie didn't earn is just run another race that's better than that performance.
my biggest qualm would be what's the world record right now? 53 and a quarter.
roughly, yeah.
Okay.
56-20-ish.
My biggest qualm with that is, or with this is, in order to score points at a major, down to 15th place scores, which I get. If you're in an elite 15 race, they're basically rewarding you for making it there. And their argument is that pretty much in order to be an elite 15 race, you had to have probably won multiple regional races, or I should stop using the phrase regional because there are now regional races. You had to win normal weekend races to get there in the first place. So that's their argument. So I get that piece. But to score, you only have to be within 20% of the first place time down to 15th place. And if at the world record pace, you still get over 10 and a half minutes of leeway, which means you can run a 64 in a major and score. And that's the only piece that I really have a problem with is like,
If you're in a major, though, that won't be a top 5 time you have. It won't be a top 5 point you have. You'll score 92
I know,
points,
but
and it
what I'm
won't mean
saying is we're
anything.
cutting off points on regular races at eighth, but we're letting people who potentially
What
blow
what
up
is
and
what is
finish.
the talent difference between a regular race and an elite race?
Well, yeah, but we're talking about last place.
Yeah, but a last place in an elite race is still worth like 4th or
Well,
5th place in a
I'm
normal
just bringing
race.
up issues.
If
I
I'm
I
I-
get it.
like disregard all points, just think about like what I said. If Ollie gets 9th place, that should not be deserving of an elite 15 qualifying spot. That's saying that there's only 6 other people in the world outside of that race that he is faster than. Like
100%.
so
I'm on your side. I'm just saying, why are we giving them points? I'm going back to the argument that Jack's making, which is
you're
why are we
giving
giving
them
them points at
points.
all?
You're giving them points, but the points don't matter because it won't be in their top 5 points. And if it is in their top 5 points, then they don't deserve to go.
Right. So why give them
So
points at all?
exactly, because the points are meaningless because it won't be in the top 5. You
It's
have
like whose
points,
line
but
it
they
is. It's
also
like whose
don't.
line
Yeah.
is it anyway? The
Like,
answers
yes,
are made up, and the
it sucks
points
to be in
don't
that
matter.
situation and you not to have points, but that race effort doesn't deserve to get points, if that makes sense.
Oh, it
So
makes
I'm
sense. I
looking
agree.
at percent of winner across the board for 15th place, like Ryan Kent in Las Vegas last year, running a 66.55. He got 84.1 points. That's not going to be in
That
his
doesn't
top
mean
15.
anything. It's
Yes.
worthless.
Across the board, you've had like James Kelly in Melbourne, 94.8 for getting 12th place.
That's probably still worthless.
There,
If you're not scoring, if you're, I would say
anything
the
less than
last
100 points, anything less than 100 points, just effectively is just so we're clear. And this is no disrespect to any of these athletes. If you are scoring less than 100 points, you might as well throw that result out the window because you
exactly.
have to. The
I think
threshold is 500 points.
the lowest 5th place point total is going to be 99 point. Like if you are scoring below 99 point whatever, I don't think you'll be in the Elite 15 for your top 5.
Yeah. Now,
because like just average races, you need 100. You need a second place in an average race for it to even count. Regional races, what is it? You need top 3 to even score 105. So
yeah.
it's like
So
you'll
Anthony
need somebody
did the
who finishes like 100 points is gonna, or 99 point whatever is going to be someone's lowest 5th time.
yeah. So Anthony already did the hard work for us and has calculated a leaderboard based off of ghost points. For those of you that don't understand ghost points, again, I would encourage you to listen to the Hybrid Coaching podcast. They go into depth on this. Effectively, what they did is they said, okay, this goes into effect beginning September 1st, but we have to understand tiebreakers after September 1st. So if Kent and Grayson are tied, how do we make a justification? They're going back to a year prior at all the people that have pro cards now, and they're basically assigning point totals to those races to give people an idea of where they stand so they can have tiebreakers in the event of ties. As of right now, the current rankings based off of ghost points from January 19th of 2025 to January 19th of now, on the men's side, the cutoff for 15th place is 509.41, which is an average of 101.88. And on the women's side, the cutoff is 504.09, 100.82. So again, and then they've gone back and no one has made it to a world championship with less than 500 points historically. So realistically, it's, as much as I'm saying, well, we shouldn't give points to Dawson's point, it literally doesn't matter because you're going to have some wins. You're going to have probably some elite, some major or some regional places to increase your points, because I don't even know that like the Gabe Heck example of winning 5 standard weekend races is actually, that doesn't even do it for you.
that's 525. That
Oh yeah.
easily
Well,
does
okay.
it
So
for
you're
you.
right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
I take it back.
but my point is from earlier, just to add on to that, you said about 101, 102 points for your average. So if you get 105, you win a local one, and then you get 97 or 96. The average of those is above 100. So it probably would help you if they expanded it a little bit more past 9th place.
Maybe, but then you look at, but that's just looking at 2 races, because you have
I
to
know,
also
but say
factor
you
in
do that
these
twice. Say you win
majors.
2 races, and then you have a couple of 96s, 97. You average it out, and you can still be above 500 points on the season without running a major.
Jack, you know what that tells me? You won 2 very easy races and you lost against better competition. Therefore, you do not deserve to be in the Elite 15.
I can't argue that you're definitely not doing as well against higher competition. That's
so
definitely what it
it's
shows.
just if anything, that's exposing
But
somebody who's taking advantage of the system.
Or what if you win a couple races and then you're like a Tom Rogers, where you're like, I just need to get 5 races, but he's capable of winning some of these races, and then he's like, I just need points on the board. He's coming back. Like, what would you do in that situation?
The only way I think it makes sense is for the regional rankings outside of Europe. Europe is basically Elite 15, so it doesn't matter. You're going to need more than that. But it would, in your situation, it would affect regional rankings potentially, but I don't think it'll affect Elite 15.
Yeah, and I think that's actually kind of their point, is the way that they catch this, so to speak, is Ollie probably makes the regional race. So he still has a shot, right? Like he's got a shot in.
Yeah. And here's just one other example. So Fangju from China, 69-14, 66-40, 64-36 in 3 different wins. And a 65-22 is the other qualifying mark. She wins one more race. She's got like 520 points and is sitting right around 5th. That's a pretty big loophole winning some of these weaker races. And then she, in theory, gets locked into majors for the next year.
Right. And I think that goes back to what Dawson was saying, though, which is this is only a problem right now in the transition period. Now that athletes are aware, we're going to see athletes probably race more. and jump around more, and then that's going to get rectified.
But it's still a trek to get to some of these places. Yes, you will probably see some athletes do it, but I think the majority of people are working a 9 to 5 and can't just go overseas for multiple weeks in a row and cherry pick easy races.
But you know what? I like this because there are two athletes that I think of right now that I believe specifically benefit from this. I believe that Morgan Schulz and Kat Fossbender are likely in the top 15 in the world if they got their shot. Now, people are going to say that's American bias. That's fine. They win when they race. And if you don't believe me, they took first and third in age group at overall, not in age group. Sorry. They took first and third overall at Worlds. They're two of the better female athletes, but they haven't been able to stack times. People like that now directly benefit because they just have to win, right? They just have to win. And people like Tara Jackson who are trying to break back in. Tara Jackson no longer has to chase times. Tara Jackson just needs to win.
So Kat has run 4 races that qualify. Her average is 99.6, so should be under the 500 threshold. And in the past year, Morgan Schulz also 99.7, very close. I agree with that, but you were saying it's like 504 to get in, so that's about 101. So that'd still be a little low. Tara, currently her average is 97.5.
I think that'll increase with the regional. They'll have an
if Kat, I'm looking at the ghost points right now.
He has a higher point threshold for placing well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the ghost points right now, just as an example, Jack. If Kat Fossbender wins Phoenix, then she's in.
Yeah, that would bump
or
up.
right on the cusp. She'd be right. She'd be right behind Jess Petro
because she has like 398 and a half. Add 5 or 105. Now she's at about 503, so it should be right there if she wins.
Yeah, and then there's Houston. So there's Houston, Vegas.
This is just what have you done in the past year, not projecting forward.
But I'm saying, but now she knows that. Whereas I think this does change things though slightly, because I think some of the reason why these athletes don't race more is because some of the times that have to be put up, or in theory that need to be put up, require big training blocks. You can't drop 3 minutes or 4 minutes in a 6-week block, right? It takes longer time. But now it's not about that. It's about racing. So in theory, right, like you don't have to go away into a cave and train for 4, 5, 6 months to take big swings to try to knock off a bunch of time. You just got to keep doing what you've been doing, which is winning your regional races.
Another question that I have that I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about the athlete card, is there going to be more transparency on who has it and who doesn't? Like, are they going to put an asterisk next to your name or your time in the results, letting you know that this will count towards the score? Because otherwise it's kind of hard to know when a valid mark actually counts or not.
I think he said that they're going to, once this goes live, they're going to post the leaderboard. So I think we'll at least know, because if the leaderboard is posted publicly, then you know who's got a card and who doesn't.
At what date did they apply for it? Because say that you find out
but then they wouldn't be on the leaderboard, right?
What if this is the new system and you're like, oh crap, I got to do it now, but like your results don't carry over? I know that it starts as of what was it, September 1st, 2025. Those are the only results that are valid after that. But I think not just having the leaderboard, because we've seen they struggle removing duplicates for some of these teams, and I just feel like there are going to be a couple of issues. So just a simple, here, do you have your card or not? Just, and what date did it begin on? That would clarify a lot of things for people doing the math.
Yeah. Is there anything we haven't covered? I think we've covered it pretty in depth.
Who do you think is the happiest and least happy?
People who are currently in the Elite 15, this doesn't like hurt them, because they're getting rid of the auto qualifier kind of distributes that gap across multiple people instead of it being one, if that makes sense. Like now 3 people are getting the rewards of an auto qualifier versus 1 would in the past, based on the increased score you can get from major races.
The points above 100.
Yeah, the points above 105.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the top 5 in the men's and women's field don't care. Doesn't affect them. They're already racing 5 times a year and they're winning, or they're getting enough points via majors or whatever else. I think Anthony actually brought up the point that like Joanna doesn't even right now she only has 2 marks, Jack, but it doesn't matter because she's about to race Phoenix. That's going to be 3. She's going to race Brisbane. That's going to be 4. And she's going to race World Championships. That's going to be 5. She could clean sweep that and have more points than anyone could possibly get anyway. And then, so she's good for the next major. So like the top end of the sport is actually going to get away with, actually, I would argue, let me look at the points again really quick. If you are consistently a top 5 athlete, let me look at the majors. If your name is Hunter McIntyre, Alexander Ronkovich, Tim Vinish, Dylan Scott, Lauren Weeks, Joanna Wetrick, Meg Jacoby when she gets back, you could probably put like Lucy and Sinead in there, maybe Linda Meyer. You actually don't, if you just commit to racing all the majors, you probably don't even have to race a regular race. Because
you're probably going to be in the top half of the finishers anyway. At every major.
You're going to get worse. You're going to do is 5th place, probably. So, and maybe not even that for some of those names. I mean, Joanna and Lauren are a lock for the podium, so they're not doing worse than 107 points. So, what's 5 times 3? 35. So they're probably doing 535 at least. And that actually even more than that because they get 110 points minimum for a podium at Worlds. So they're potentially 540 points. And then their strength of field is incomparable. So they're just locked. So they're set. The other people that are probably the happiest are Europeans. Just because of the density of races. I mean, it's not hard. The people that are probably, and then the other people that are probably the happiest are the fringe Americans who have been so frustrated that we don't have fast courses and they feel like they are the best. Are they at least in the top 15 and having to look at times? The people that are probably the most pissed are the people
the bottom 5 of the Elite 15. Any Elite 15 race that you have where Joanna and Lauren are running so fast, that time means nothing. You don't get any points for that. So they have to race 5 races outside of the majors. So they really
which I think was Dawson's point earlier.
8 races.
Yeah, the problem is the top showing up to a major now that used to be an advantage because you could get pulled along to a potentially a fast time, but now because of the way the points are applied, and your time doesn't matter, and those points aren't going to help you in your standings. So it actually, should you race or should you not? You should never miss an opportunity to race an elite race. But yeah, I think anybody that's in the bottom 5 right now is not happy. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think that the happiest are the high performing athletes in weaker zones still, because they'll have an easier opportunity to earn more points.
Yeah. And actually, Matlock brought this up about Gabe Heck. If you think that Gabe is like getting away with it,
he's qualified the hard way. Like he got in.
He's getting away with it. He's not. You're welcome.
Just the easy example.
Yeah, you're welcome to travel over to Asia to try to beat him, and you probably won't.
He is coming to the DC regional, so he'll be able to prove himself there.
Yep, and I think that in terms of athletes who are not happy, the new must be from the same country rule for doubles. I think that you're going to have a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Rich Leo, it's the end of Rich Leo.
Who's fast from Austria? Are we ever going to see Alex in doubles, for instance?
I brought that up yesterday. I don't even know. Go ahead, Dawson.
I was just going to say another sneaky benefit for people who qualified for doubles based on the timing system and ran the majors and got anywhere from 6th to 10th place. You're getting over 100 points. And if you haven't finished that high in a local race, no matter what, you at least have a point over 100. So again, it's just kind of like this 6-month window that we talked about. But if you're placing above 10th in a doubles, in a roll down spot, that you know, say you're 28th, 30th on the thing, and you come and you get more than 10th or lower than 10th place, you actually gain a pretty big advantage.
Here are some of the names of top teams that are currently eligible to race in Elite 15 doubles that will no longer be able to be a team. Rich Leo, the world record holders. Jake Williamson and Hunter McIntyre, second fastest time of all time. Alexander Ronkovich and Tim Vinish cannot race together. Alexander Ronkovich and Tiago cannot race together. Jake Dearden and James Kelly already qualified, cannot race together. Even if Jake Williamson did not dump Alan Plow, cannot race together. Who else do we have? Jeremy McConnell and Fabi cannot race together. Thomas Fry and Alan Cow cannot race together. Ryan Douglas and Jack Driscoll can no longer race together. John Wynn, Graham Holiday can no longer race together. Bo Wills, Eugenio Bianchi can't race together.
Did you say Jack and Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on the women's side, the women are like more equally
Most
paired
of them
up.
are down the board. Yeah.
Yeah, most of them are fine, but Manuela Garcia Caparros and Secca Arning cannot race together. Linda Meyer, Meg Jacoby cannot race together.
You got to go pretty far down the list. Jennifer Nicholas and Melanie Maurer
can't race together. So I mean, it's not like nothing.
No, and I just looked up this besides Alexander Ronkovich for fastest time from Austria. There's only one person who's gone under 58:29, and that's Julian Krutzer. So he's got essentially one viable teammate, most likely.
I think we should actually make it more strict, and you should have to be from the same metropolitan area to be partners.
Only Raw Debo can race together.
Yeah.
A lot of people asking who Rich is going to pick. A lot of people want to know.
Well, did Jack Driscoll just become the hottest name on the market for an American partner?
Jack Driscoll has always been the hottest name on the American market for a partner, and I'm not talking about HYROX. So I don't think he's single anymore, though. So all the ladies everywhere sighed. Very sad. Yeah, Jack is a good partner. I mean, Rich is going to have a partner. I mean, Rich is it fair to say Rich is a doubles merchant?
I think
this season would have to be over.
A lot of people asking. A lot of people asking if he's a doubles merchant. No, I'm just saying, like, is he better at doubles than he is at singles? A lot of people asking.
He's got 2 major podiums. I'd say you can still do some damage, and we'll find out in Phoenix how Dad Life's been treating him.
Funny story. Kendall, who's a friend of the show at RMR, commented on Rich's post whenever he gave us his not excuse post that he was healthy. And Rich likened me to Dr. Frankenstein, his own creation, turning against him. So I'm just here to keep the people honest. You know, that's all that it is.
I mean, speaking of Rich, you know, if I keep getting pulled in on these emergency calls, I might have to get on the RMR payroll pretty soon.
Big bucks.
Get in line. If someone is going to get on the RMR payroll, it'd be me and Jack, and we are still collecting a big fat $0 paycheck.
Same amount of dollars as 9th place gets points.
That's right. That's right. A big fat nothing. We do it for y'all. We do it for you. All right. I think we did it. Anything that we missed? Let me check my DMs one more time to see if Anthony got back to me.
We'll figure out a couple more things to talk about, I'm sure, before the draft. I'm sure that a couple things will pop up. A couple things will be clarified. But
we're drafting next week. I got my random number generator ready to go, baby.
Matt, I'm thinking of a number between 4 and 4. What is it?
I am willing to bet that I do not finish 4th because the random number generator.
5th is impossible, but you're definitely
the random
not
number.
First,
the random number generator is going to do me a solid.
Okay.
I think it should be like over under double the amount of points that first place scores.
I think that under. I think that BK is now so. I think that BK is so out of touch with what's going on these days. His luck is going to run out.
He's got a good natural instinct for figuring things out, though.
Have you seen the start list? There's a good chance that BK doesn't know some of the names on the list.
That's true. I mean, there was someone who Bo Wills. He's in the mix now. I don't know who's out.
Bo
but
Wills.
Bo's in.
I got a theory.
I think you're right. I saw it.
Yeah, I got a theory. All right, we did it. Dawson, we appreciate you. Jack, appreciate you as always. Let us know in the comments where we got it right, where we got it wrong. B Stud King, I know that I'm going to get 3 paragraphs out of you as to why I'm a dumbass and why you were disappointed in Jack's.
He's got good feedback most of the time. I like it.
He's got good feedback. He does have good feedback. I fundamentally disagree with him putting Dylan as far down as he did because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. And that is direct feedback I'm giving to you, B Stud King. Everybody else, give us your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Let us know where we got it right. Let us know where we got it wrong. All 3 of us, the boys, will be in Phoenix next week. Come and say hi, get a sticker, get a high five from Dawson. And we'll see you later.